What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to another Chaos Zero Nightmare video. Today let's talk about the recruitment banners, the rescue banners I should say, and talk about which ones you should focus on and why. So a lot of questions that I get asked involve like which banner should I pull on, and especially should I pull on the normal partner rescue. So in this video we're going to go over why you may or may not want to summon on this, as well as why it's important to keep summoning on this regular banner even if you already have, the characters that you like. So thanks so much for tuning in, and let's get into it. So should you be pulling on the partner rescue? If you are free to play or even just a low spender, I don't think so. I'm actually a little bit of a whale, and I don't summon on this at all either. Instead, my plan will be, and some of you guys can do this as well, will actually be to go ahead and just pick them up via the partner shop here in the memory archive. Now, I did end up getting a dupe just for fun. I did get my Mei Ling to M2, and I'm going to talk about what M2 means and why dupes are important in this game, and that's going to kind of tie into why we should be summoning on certain banners. But just in general, just take note of this, as you can pick up once a month some very nice partners here. After you just keep summoning, you get these currencies. What are they called here real quick? The moments of the radiant hero, right? Which I believe you get at if you summon anything 4-star or up. So the partner rescue, of course, is good. Partners in this game are amazing, but in general, I think it's better to pull on the combatant rescue unless you're giga whaling. And if you're giga whaling, you shouldn't really be watching video guides. You probably can just pay to win your way through the end game. But overall, I think you just get a lot more value on the normal combatant banner, and I'll break down why in just a second. But if we take a look here at the agent info, right, some of these are very good, but overall it's a little bit of a crapshoot. We're getting out specific ones, and the main thing really is just that the 4 stars that you can get in like the combatant rescue banner are very good, and you can just use those until you get the partner of your choice later on, either via the battle pass or that shop that I showed you with the currency. And in general too, it's better to get more combatants, as let me guys catch you up real quick. We did hit level 41 and we got a new zone. It's a new chaos area, and I just a fun heads up, I won't spoil too much about this. We'll have a separate video guide, and it's just very early. A lot of people aren't here yet, so I don't want to spoil the fun for all y'all. But this is probably the end game mode moving forward, at least for now. There's a lot to it. If you like the difficult roguelike end game, this is amazing. And I think it's just going to replace Chaos in general, because you get all the save data that you might want, as well as adding extra benefits. On top of, it still counts to get all the exploration and achievements that you get in the normal chaos manifestation as well. So yeah, level 40 that unlocks, and level 30 you need to fight 2 bosses here in the, I believe I showed this in one of the other videos, but we'll go over it real fast. And this is why I think you should be pulling on the combatant banner instead, because in the Basin of Hyperspace we will be needing 2 separate teams. And honestly, even beyond this, I've been having so much fun in Chaos Zero Nightmare just creating more teams, and I really hope to get a few more 4-star dupes, as well as get a few of the missing 5 stars, just so I can try out a lot of different team compositions. Now in the beginning, it's hard to build up every unit because we're very energy gated, stamina gated, and you just don't have the resources. But later on, I expect that we will be able to try out a lot of different teams, and that's really the beauty of Chaos Zero Nightmare. There's so many different interactions that you guys can try. But anyways, that's we're kind of going off topic once again, but you will be needing 6 characters off the bat. So I think unless you already have 6 characters in mind that you want, it is nice to pull in the combatant banner. And like I said, in the future, I think it's nice to have multiples of the characters, maybe even a 3rd team just for fun. Maybe there's going to be more content like that. But additionally, dupes are extremely important, and we're going to go into that in just a second. So just to wrap things up before we move on, free to plays, avoid pulling on the partner rescue for now. The 4 stars that you get via the combatant rescue banner are good enough, and you can just end up picking the 5-star that you want once you save up enough currency. Of course, you can do whatever you want in the game, but between the battle pass, the 4 stars, I just don't think there's a lot of reason, as partners inherently give less value overall, at least compared to getting the early dupes. And that's what I want to talk about now, why this is so important. Not just the early dupes, but also unlocking additional characters. Like, I really want Veronica. Those of you that have her, she's looks really fun and is so versatile in a lot of teams. And I think just rounding out your roster is going to be very important moving forward into the end game of Chaos Zero Nightmare. But let's go ahead and take a look at the characters, and I want to talk about a few breakpoints where we can talk a little bit about the 5 stars, but more importantly really is the 4-star supports that really shine. So Mika, for example, guys, and by the way, she's on the Haru banner. If you end up wanting to get copies for her and you like Haru as well, I recommend you pull on that banner right now before it leaves, as this is one easy way to get Mika maxed out. But we can use her as an example because almost every player uses Mika. One, we start with her, and two, she's arguably the strongest character in the game, and definitely one of the best supports in the game. And her support, or her manifestation egos, the dupes, the M's is what I called it, M1, M2, M6, are very valuable. So if we just take a quick look, you get additional card effects. Unlike other games, it's not just stats or anything like that, but you get full effects to the character's kit. On the second dupe, whenever we get stressed, we heal. And then one of the big ones really is you start adding retain to source of water, so that way you don't have to use it immediately. And additionally, you get 2 wave at the start of the battle. I think this is one of the most important at M6. What that means is when you start the battle, you already start at 2 wave, and all your cards that have 1 wave means you pretty much just get a free AP. And so things like that just make the character's kit much smoother, and it honestly makes your entire deck, your combos, run so much better. Now, Mika's an exception where M6 is very important, but let's take a look at Cassius, and some of these are game-breakingly huge, and I like to use this guy as an example. If you look at the first dupe in Cassius, his Joker effect, which is where he just draws a card in your deck, can also now work in the graveyard. What that means is this becomes extremely versatile, where even if you casted a card already, Joker can grab that card again. So extremely important. It doubles the amount of areas you can grab from. And then look at this too. On his second dupe, he heals every time he draws an ability. So for those of you that just want extra sustain, or if you plan to use Cassius as one of your main healers, maybe your only healer, things like this are very mandatory. If you watched my recent mailing video, where I show you a tankless and healerless comp, quote unquote healerless, Ray is very important here at dupe 2, as she gets like pretty much a life steal effect, and that's what allows you to play without a dedicated healer. So just as an example, right, getting a lot of dupes for characters is extremely important. And now for 5 stars, and I don't think a lot of y'all, especially free-to-plays, will have enough 5 stars right now unless you either get, lucky or unlucky in some people's eyes. But just as an example, guys, let's say Kalipe, one of my favorite characters, extremely powerful. This card is also amazing. Like I said, it just makes the game feel so much better. But you get Vulture Ejection at the top of the draw pile, meaning every time you start a battle, that Vulture Ejection is ready to go, right? It's locked and loaded, so whenever you cast a 2 card, you get to cheese out a 3 card cost for free, and sometimes it leads into Silver Veil and all that. So I think just in general, getting extra combatants, and especially the dupes this early on, is really, really nice. And a lot of people still don't have like characters like Selena. So people don't have Cassius. There's a lot of 4 stars that are just absolutely amazing. Tressa is one of the most powerful characters when you combo her, so getting multiple copies of her as well is good. And additionally, right, and I'll probably have another separate dedicated video, but having different team comps and having the right synergies for them is important. So you really want to round out the roster. Like, I'm still missing plenty of units. I really want Hugo. I talked about how I really want Veronica, but just in general, I can already make 3 extremely optimized teams. Let's say, for example, I can run Kalipe. One of my most recent teams is Kalipe, Haru plus Mika, which is very strong. Haru is a good damage dealer that enables Kalipe with all her 2-cost cards, and then Mika, we have the best healer in the game, best support AP battery in the game, and then Kalipe has backup damage as well as providing amazing shields. My other team right here that I showed you on the video, Malin, Ray, Selena, just super fun, high octane, high damage. And then my third team, guys, is gonna be like Renoa, Nia, Cassius. So having the options to really have that synergy flow and having the optimal teams instead of just okay teams is really, really good. If you guys have Rin Hugo or Hugo Tressa, there's so many team compositions, and so until you really round out your roster, don't settle for just having a few combatants. And I think a lot of y'all should continually pull on this banner, at least for a while. Now, there's one last thing I want to talk about here, and that is the Haru banner. I talked about, how you can get Mika or Beryl. Mostly Mika, but we already know that Yuki is the next character coming up. I believe, don't quote me on that, but I think there's been rumblings that she's going to be another character. So some players may want to save some of these crystals for the limited banner, as that will guarantee you get a character. And then also, potentially the partner one as well. I think that could be also a very viable alternative. And I think in a lot of games, it is nice to save for the dedicated banners. However, now that Chaos Zero Nightmare, from beta to now, has revealed that all these characters, unless they're like seasonal limiteds, will go to the normal banner, I think it's still okay to rip on the combatant rescue until you round out your roster well enough. However much you need to round out your roster is going to be up to you guys. But remember, those early dupes, if you want to plan out your teams and you want to try to get, you know, a specific setup going, try to take a look at their duplicates that I showed y'all between, you know, having those additional effects, and that might determine if you want to keep pulling on this combatant rescue banner or not. All right, y'all, we'll wrap things up there. So my recommendation is to avoid the partner pulls just for now. Later on, that's probably going to be a play that we could do, trying to fish for 5-star partners when we want to like finally optimize our team. But for now, between the battle pass, if you guys did buy that, you know, if you didn't, it's okay. Free to plays, 4-star partners are very, very good right now. And in general, like I said, right, when you guys find the team you want, it's also very important to get those much needed dupes. Like Renault, I just pulled 2 copies for, and her Manifest Ego, the second part, like creates a Dirge Bullet finale, which is, it sounds insane. So I'm going to be testing out all this stuff. I showed you guys why Cassius is very important. And some people I talked to with in my chats, they don't even have like characters like Nia yet. So I think having a lot of the roster ready to go, especially if you guys figure out those units you want, and then when you figure out your teams, having a few mileage dupes, or sorry, I say mileage, you know, the dupes in general to get the additional abilities unlocked could be game breaking, or at least just really, really, really more efficient, and will really help you enjoy the team more as you just kind of play the game. It'll help smooth out your teams, your turns, and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and wrap things up there, like I said, and thank you so much as always for watching. Stop by the live streams. As for the next, you know, month or so, I'll be streaming this game way too much. The game tells me every hour, and I think today we hit like 12-13 hours. The game was telling me to log off, or it might cause problems in my personal life. I wish we could disable that. But yeah, stop by, say hi, and thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.